As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Welcome to the Crunch Time Sports Show with Jeff Iafrate and Booner. It's Monday, February 23rd, the week of the NFL Combine. The Monday after the USA took home the gold in men's hockey, which we'll talk about. We have Mock Draft Monday today as well. We have our 3.0 mock drafts for the Detroit Lions in the 2026 NFL Draft. We'll get to that later in the show. We'll talk about the NFL Combine. Coaching staff got announced today by the Detroit Lions. Tim Twentyman sat down with Mike Kafka, sat down with Dan Skipper. We got some clips from that. Ben Johnson commented on Drew Petzing. Packed show today before we leave for the NFL Combine. We'll be there from Tuesday all the way to Sunday. We'll have live shows there throughout the week. I posted it on our YouTube. Today we're 8 to 10 p.m. every day. Turn on the notification bell for when we go live. It's going to be a packed week. Doc's already down there, so we'll probably be joined by the Doc as well. But we're looking forward to it, man. Massive week for Crunch Time Sports. Massive week for football. And we've done it the last 2 years, and we're excited to run it back again. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, I'm pumped up. It should be honestly, it should be a fun week. We have a lot of things planned for Indy. I'm fired up. We're leaving at like 5 a.m, and the boys, we're gonna be there for Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, Ben Johnson in the morning tomorrow, Javi Roseman. There's just a bunch of things we're doing, and then obviously. Hopefully we might actually too this week as well. So people don't know, like obviously Wednesday, we're still going to have the Doc on for his Doc Wednesday, cause he doesn't leave till Thursday. And, it's going to be in person, us with the Doc all in person. So that should be an interesting, that'll be interesting. I did, by the way, just like I'll throw it out there. I got a haircut hold on a sec. The Doc's still live. Can we do this real quick? Let me do something real quick.
What are we doing?
Booner, how slow are you? Doc said he beats you 5'1" to 5'8".
You hear this?
It's measured. So yeah. 5'1".
Doc is he's indulged.
Done deal. Doc runs a 5'1". Booner runs a 5'8".
What is this?
Slower than Doc in every facet of measurables.
Yep.
I think the Doc's a little tipsy.
Well, he said he's a couple margaritas in, couple old fashions in. So
he texted me before his show. He said, "Booner, Doc was drunk texting me, and like his words were all like they weren't real words. They were all like random. I'm like having to decipher these texts, and he's like essentially being like, Booner, watch me, make sure I don't say anything bad." It's like I'm watching the Doc then. Like, what are you gonna say bad, Doc? Like you say anything you want anyways. Like,
yeah, we can't control that. That's just we're Doc. We try to be Doc's PR. Doc's HR, and sometimes it's out of our control.
He just picks fights against me, dude.
Yeah, I don't know what he's. I mean, what do you think about that? You run a 5'8", Doc runs a 5'1". Is that,
dude? Jeff, as a friend, me and you, real quick. You know, I would destroy the Doc in the 40, and it wouldn't even be close.
Yeah, Doc would.
Like,
yeah.
Jeff, like he could draw. I would beat him by 30 yards, and it's a 40-yard dash. I would beat him by 30 yards.
I don't know if Doc would make it. He may injure himself. I don't know, Doc. Could we? And I'm just saying this because I love him. Do I want him running a 40? Like he's at risk of potentially hurting himself. I don't think so.
I put in his chat. I went in there real quick and said, I would dominate you, Doc. You would probably tear your Achilles. No offense.
Yeah.
What are we doing here, man?
Well, I watched the Doc last night. I checked out his it was today. He posted a video today. And then I checked in, compared that to his stream just now. And he just looks nice. I mean, this guy looks absolutely plastered. I mean,
dude, that's so good, man.
I mean, it's love the guy, man. I love the guy. He was showing love to us too. It was like
Oh,
like the drunk
I
love,
love him.
because I commented in there with Crunch Time, and he's like, man, these guys are the freaking best, man. I'll do anything for them. They'll do anything for the doc.
I think I did, by the way, so you know, I did text the doc a couple days ago. Klotz's birthday was it Saturday or Friday night?
Yeah,
so I told the Klotz, hey, like we should go to dinner or something Tuesday for your birthday. And I texted the doc and said, hey, you're invited if you would like to come. And he said, I'll probably come. So
oh, hell yeah.
Our Tuesday dinner, we'll find a place to go, but Lukas Klotz birthday dinner and John the Doc Macaroon joining in for the birthday dinner. We had to have dinner with Doc once, right?
Can we bring Doc to the Hooters?
No,
this guy.
Oh man, I don't know. Maybe Wednesday we go with the Hooters with the Doc.
I mean, Doc bringing Doc to Hooters would be I don't know. That's content.
It is actually that would be something.
We'd be able to keep in there if he's depending on what he says, but. Yeah, it'll be. We actually are going. Xavier says, "Don't go to Hooters. Go to St. We're going to St. Elmo's Thursday."
Thursday, yeah, we got dinner Thursday at St. Elmo's.
Yeah, we'll be there Thursday. It'll be fun, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm fired up about it. We'll be doing shows from the hotel room. We have all the equipment we're packing. We're going on the road. So like you said, we leave at 5 a.m. We're gonna go scoop Lukas Klotz. We're stopping in the Toledo, the 419. We're gonna pick Klotz up, roll right to Indy, and we're on boots on the ground. So. Across social media, YouTube, we'll be just plastering content.
We're going to be putting stuff out there all week. Also, too, for people who don't know, and if you're like trying to like, hey, something we've talked about doing forever is like behind the scenes stuff, a weekly vlog. And we actually, in the last month, we've invested in a vlog camera. We have a brand new camera, spent a good amount of money on that. And this is our first thing we're doing where we're gonna vlog the whole thing. So if you guys want to see behind the scenes content, that'll be on our YouTube. Hopefully within we'll get the footage by the end of the this week, and then we'll have to take a couple of weeks or a week or so to
edit it
to edit it and get it out. It'll be our first one we're editing, so it might take a little longer, but once we get this thing rolling a little bit and we have maybe someone that can help edit it more, it might end up just being Booner editing it, which I'll figure it out, or we'll figure it out. I don't know. Maybe we'll go through a couple different hands of editors, and then we'll put it out. But we're gonna be vlogging the whole thing too. We're gonna have a whole behind the scenes, which that'll be fun.
Yeah.
The doc at Hooters, and you know what we'll do too for people. We'll post like actual like videos of us doing stuff on like Twitter and stuff, so people can actually really behind the scenes of the whole week. So it'll be both.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait, man. We'll be covering all these players we talk about. Even today, we'll do our mock draft. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of these guys participate. We have the entire list that we kind of talked about the last couple weeks. So a lot of names on there that the Lions are going to like. I mean, defensive linemen, offensive linemen, tight ends, linebackers, safeties. I mean, pretty much every day is going to be a position, hopefully besides wide receiver. Last year, we looked at wide receivers, but we didn't know that they would trade up for one. But every position we cover is basically, I mean, even the running backs, let's be real. Everyone's could be taken. So
I will say this too, by the way, Jeff. And I don't know about Klotz. I know you last year, you're like Sunday, like let's just get out of here, boys. We have a problem. Sunday might be the biggest day because offensive line is on the field Sunday. That might be for the Lions, tackles and centers. I have a feeling that might be the like Lions fans want to see.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm like, you know what I mean? Like I mean, looking at some of the tackles today in my mock draft, I'm so interested to see how some of these guys perform because there's so many guys at the edge of like that first, second round. And then even like the centers that me and you keep bringing up, Pat Coogan and Jake Slaughter, like how do these guys move up based off of their combine performances? Because as much as people are like, it is the underwear Olympics, we don't take much. There are a lot of players, man, who can move up, from the third to the second round, the fourth to the third, fourth to the second, second to first, based off of combine performances, especially arm length, some offensive linemen like.
Well, it's really, what's important. The most important stuff on top of all the athletic stuff of like how they can move and stuff like that is at the combine. People don't talk about this enough. Prospects meet with teams. Like that's the biggest thing. They get to actually talk. You get like, I don't know what the time limit is, but you get to meet with as many prospects as you're allowed to meet with.
Yep.
So the Lions will get to actually sit down with guys. Like, I know you see all the reports, I'm sure Lions fans have, of like senior bowl. They met with this guy. They met with this guy. The combine, they get to sit down, and we have the clip that came out when Sam Laporta met with the Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs met with the Lions. Jack Campbell met with the Lions. Like, this stuff, it happens at the combine.
Big deal.
And that dictates where guys are going to be drafted. So when you see Lions are meeting with this player at the combine, doesn't mean it's everything, but it is worth noting that there's some interest there. So they're doing their due diligence. So I'm excited about it.
And even especially, I think for offensive linemen, when you get into it, like, remember last year, Tate was like, I felt like Tate had a really good combine. It might have, I don't know if obviously he probably didn't sway the Lions fully. He still knew who he was, and what he was about. But, you go in there, especially as an offensive line, and you compete and you have some agility and you can show off, especially guys who a lot of people might be like, hey, just maybe a little too slow, doesn't have great footwork. Or you're going in and you kind of show out on the combine for the offensive line. You could definitely change some people's minds. On how you look, especially guys who haven't played a lot in college, maybe don't have 40 starts like others do.
It'll be good for quarterbacks too.
That's a big one this year.
They're going to be throwing to receivers they don't necessarily know. So even though it's just like it is, there's no pass rush, and but still, like, there's quarterbacks who Tyler Shuck, he participated at the combine and I'm getting drafted in the second round. Again, it's not everything, but it matters. So some of those guys that need it more than others, like Fernando's not going to the combine. Obviously, he's not going to participate, but
yeah, he'll be there. He'll be. Yeah, he just won't. He's
like
not running. I think they said. Yeah, or no, he's not throwing. That's what. Yeah, they said he's not throwing.
Yeah,
so
he'll throw it as a pro day because he'll throw to receivers. He says it comes out he's doing it because he wants to pump up his guys. I'm sure that's part of it, but also you get to throw to receivers, so it's like it helps.
Yeah,
it's smarter. Like,
you want to. But I do think, like, I'll say this year's combine maybe a little different than last year's. I think there was a couple guys last year, but a majority of the guys last year, those top end talents, like those top 10, 15 picks, I remember a lot of them sat out and they were there, but they did interviews and they did all the medicals and all of that, but when it came to like on-field work, they sat out. Where this year, like, you have some of the top guys participating. I think Arvell Reese, who's top 2-3 prospect, already said that he's going to be participating in everything. I'm trying to think who's already. I have only person I've seen who said who's not going to participate, I think, has been Fernando Mendoza.
He's the only one locked up, really, to be honest.
Where usually, like last year, so like the top 10 to 15 guys, majority of them just did not work out. And I think this year, if you're looking forward to the combine, you're going to see a lot more of these top end picks because, I think there's going to be able to be a lot of movement, especially with how close all these things are. Like that second pick, who is it? David Bailey, Arvell Reese, is it Ruben Bain? Like, no one really knows who it is. And if someone shows up to the combine, has good interviews and dominates on the field and blows people away, you could solidify that number 2 pick and you could really, sell a team. So that's why I think not a lot of guys are going to be sitting out. And then even like wide receiver, quarterback, like those positions, there's no like clear one, and there's also no clear like top 5 on a lot of these bigger positions. And I think that's like a very, very big selling point to get guys. Like last year, you kind of knew, boom, 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 these are the top guys. This year, it's like I think anyone can move up and down. So I'm interested. Who would you say, by the way, too, like going like this year? Like I would say this, like I think the most important. Every year it probably changes, but position groups in the combine this year, I think wide receivers one is a really big one because of the depth, but also like they're all so close. Quarterback, offensive line, I think those are like the ones that I think at the combine this year are going to be, the biggest ones that can make some movements based off of it.
Yeah, I think the position groups I look at are the position group, which is honestly most of the position groups. That's why I think it matters to a lot of positions that are kind of clustered with a lot of guys around the same tier. Like quarterback, we mentioned quarterback. There's Fernando Mendoza, and then there's like no certainty of who's going next. Most likely Ty Simpson, but there's still this group of guys that are like everyone's going to be competing to kind of be like, who's the next guy, who's going to impress, and you can always look at first-round picks as potential quarterback watch because they want the 5th-year option. Not saying there will be one, but that's a position you always look at. Wide receiver, you brought up another good one because wide receiver 1, it's like Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon. It's like, what if Carnell Tate runs a really fast 40? We saw what happened with Xavier Worthy. He ran not that he's going to run that type of 40, but Xavier ran a 4.2 and got drafted in the first round off of that. So these position groups that have a lot of guys clustered at the top there, running backs could be a good one. Jeremiah Love, who's next? It's like guys run 40s, the pass catching drills. Running backs are another one because people are like, well, this is a down running back class. Well, there's some guys that maybe you haven't heard of watching college football, but when you watch the combine, you're like, okay, who's this guy? He runs a 4.3 and he looked good catching passes. He looked super agile. So yeah, I think defensive line as well. I think there's a lot. Honestly, out of the last 3 years, I'll say this, out of the last 3 years we've covered the combine, this one to me, there's more players than the last 2 years that have the most to gain, in my opinion.
That's exactly.
Yeah,
that's what
guys that could rise in this one. So
I agree. I completely agree with that. And I think it starts with the quarterback, which is one of the biggest positions. I think another, the offensive line, I think there's going to be a lot of guys that are able to gain a lot from this combine because of how close everything is. And then even the skill positions, like you said, I think the one that maybe you don't have as much to gain because there's maybe not as many top end talent. Maybe there's some good linebackers in this class, but I don't know how many guys in that group will be able to gain a lot. Edge rushers, maybe a little bit. Interior is going to be so interesting because there are some dudes, man, who a lot of interiors I feel like have fallen over the last year. So that's the one to look into. And the kid from Clemson, is it Peter Woods? I watched something today talking about how Peter Woods last year was a top 5 overall prospect in this draft.
Yep.
Had a down year, and now all of a sudden he's potentially a second-round guy. If he goes out and has elite meetings and a really good combine, he puts himself right back in contention to be a top 20 pick, right? It's just it's about showing that. And why did you have a bad year? So
TJ Parker, another one.
Yeah, he's another one at Clemson. I don't know what happened with Clemson is such a weird year, man, with Dabo. Those guys, they had so many just dudes that were high-end talent, and then all of a sudden, bad year. It's just so weird, man. It really is.
Yeah. There's a lot of it. I'm excited for it. So if you want to stay updated with
how about this
prospects, follow us on everything. Make it happen. What were you going to say?
Oh, we got the same sweatshirt on today.
Yeah, it's we're rocking the merch before we depart tomorrow. There'll be boots on the ground in Indy. Indy's a great place. Went there 2 years ago.
Perfect spot.
It's never been there prior to 2 years ago. So shout out to Indianapolis, man. Shout out Pat McAfee. It's a nice spot over there. Not as big as Detroit, but it feels kind of similar to a Detroit. Detroit is just bigger, and you can just tell it's bigger. But when you go to Indy, you're like, okay.
I think for the combine, it's perfect, especially we're doing what we do. For fans, it's really nice. I would say it's a good experience for fans, but in our field and covering it, it's dude, we stay in a hotel that's connected to the stadium essentially, and all the stuff's inside of there. We don't have to we barely have to go outside unless we want to go eat dinner somewhere. And I'm pretty sure it's snowing down there, or there's going to be snow while we're there. Last year there wasn't. We were able to walk around, do whatever we wanted to. So, it's going to be nice.
Of course, the weather switches up
right
before we leave.
I wish we had last week was this week coming up. I wish it was just swap the weeks weather-wise.
Well, it'll be a busy offseason for the Lions coaching staff that just got announced. Actually, officially, we kind of know already the main guys, as you can see here, which I guess this is kind of new. Correct me if I'm wrong. Jim O'Neill, assistant head coach and safety.
Yeah, that's one of the he was safeties last year. I think technically, he was a safeties coach last year. He just got added on. So I don't know if you remember, he was interviewing, or he was going to interview for coaches. I don't know if they declined Jim O'Neill, but he got a promotion essentially to assistant head coach.
Well, he interviewed for the Jets job,
DC job. Yep. Okay, that's what it was. So they did give him a promotion this year to assistant head coach.
So you got an associate head coach, Scotty Montgomery / wide receivers, Jim O'Neill, assistant head coach, and safeties, Dave Phipps, special teams coordinator, Calvin DC, Drew Petzing, OC, and then Dan Campbell. So pretty much. There you go, the lineup, and then you go to the assistants here. You got everything at the top pretty similar. I did see this, though. Mark Brunell, quarterback coach, Tashard Choice, running back coach, Hank Fraley, run game coordinator, offensive line coach, Bruce Gradkowski, assistant wide receivers.
Yeah. I think he was assistant quarterbacks before.
Yeah. So he's moving around. He's working with different positions. So he's assistant wide receiver. We met Bruce last year, had a good conversation with him. So shout out to him. Mike Kafka, the official pass game coordinator. And then it says Justin Mesa, offensive quality control coach. Steve Oliver, who is, I think, working under Hank Fraley, is now the tight ends coach. And then David Shaw, who is the pass game coordinator. Now he's the pass game specialist. And then Dan Skipper, offensive assistant. And then Marquise Tuasosopo, offensive assistant. What a name. But Dan Skipper's on there, offensive assistant, not offensive assistant, offensive line coach, offensive assistant. He's in there. He's just listening in. He's learning from a pretty dang good offensive staff, though, for being real.
Dude, I want to say this, Mike Kafka, like for people who don't know, pass game coordinator, he obviously takes that job from, or the title at least, from David Shaw, and takes over the whole pass game. For people who don't know, dude, he was the pass game coordinator with the Chiefs for 2 or 3 years.
Holmes MVP. They won a Super Bowl.
And Super Bowl there. Like he was very, very successful under Andy Reid as the pass game coordinator. So he obviously knows what he's doing at a very, very high level. And the fact too, your pass game coordinator from last year is still on the staff, essentially just working with Mike Kafka. So it's like you just upgraded to an extremely high level in the pass game. So you'd expect that to take a big jump. So those were kind of my biggest takeaway was the David Shaw stand. Shout out, Jeff. I told you, I said there's no way they get rid of David Shaw, man. You keep that man as long as you can.
I don't got any beef with him. I didn't want it to sound like I got beef with him. There's no way he's not going to be the pass game coordinator. I didn't, but you know what? If he's the pass game specialist and working under him, fine. That's awesome.
He's probably going to get paid the same amount, and he's probably has probably less responsibilities, right? Like so he's probably like, yeah, I'll do it. I don't care. Just love the game of ball, football. Yeah, love ball, man.
And to be fair, their passing game with Jared, I mean, he had a good year, I guess.
You just take it to a different level now with Mike Kafka. Like Mike Kafka, is probably a better pass game coach than David Shaw.
No question. Right?
Especially working with Andy Reid and what he had to deal with, in New York, like for sure is a high, you just upgraded to a high level. I would say this too, Dan Skipper. I did watch, and I know I put a clip out of Dan Skipper.
I'll play some of that.
And there's even more. Like I clipped 30 seconds of it, dude. There's 3 or 4 minutes of Dan Skipper talking about. He was asked about the O-line and like implementing and getting back to where they were before. And Dan Skipper sounds like a coach, Jeff. And I know we talked about like what is going to be like for him coaching players that he played with, like his kind of superiors. It's just like, dude, it seems like he's like ready to go. And like as a coach, the way it sounded like these guys are going to respect him, and he's already so well spoken as a coach. It's great. It's actually when I watched his interview today, Jeff, I was like, hats off to him. Like he's ready to get into this, and he's going to be really good at it.
Yeah, they were asking him, how does it feel to be Coach Dan Skipper now, which is I mean, everyone loves Dan Skipper. And I'm sure I disregarded all the like, oh, Dan Skipper's going to tell Penei Sewell what to do. Well, if you haven't noticed, Sean Payton's a good example, actually. Sean Payton told Drew Brees what to do. Okay. Bill Belichick told Tom Brady what to do. Obviously, he's not of that caliber, but the point I'm making is you don't have to be great as a former professional athlete to tell people and to educate athletes. Like, that's my point. I mean, even to knock it down.
Respected.
Let's knock it down to Dan Campbell. Wasn't a great tight end by any means. Okay, he was fine. He's a good blocking tight end, made some plays here and there. He's a great coach. So people got to get over, like, that doesn't even make sense. The great players don't translate to great coaches. If you're not a great player professionally or whatever, you still have a lot to learn and teach. You still have a lot to give and share information. So I think Dan Skipper, they wouldn't hire him if he's not a smart guy. Obviously, he's a smart guy.
I think two things with Skip, and I don't know if you got the vibe from him. I got the vibe from him. Like, one thing, I think he's really respected in that offensive line room or offensive room as a whole. He's not even an assistant offensive line coach. He's an offensive assistant. So he's respected in that room as a whole. And I think people do I think a lot of these players are going to listen to him, and he probably does have a lot of knowledge. even if he wasn't good, the skill might not have been there, but the knowledge is there. And one thing that he's going to be able to help out with in a really high level that Tim Twentyman talked to him about was evaluating and figuring out free agents and draft, prospects for offensive line, because he's played on offensive line for, almost 10 years in the NFL, to where he said he's just been watching film and just watching, going back and watching free agents and breaking them down and all these different aspects and breaking down prospects of, just figuring out, hey, what does this guy bring to the table? What is he good at? And I think just that's a different level that, maybe they didn't have before, where instead of having someone in the building that's doing that, Skip's like worrying about playing. Now you have like a guy that's been a part of those good old lines sitting down with Hank Fraley, watching that film, being like, this guy would be a perfect fit. I like that.
Yeah,
Like,
if he had to work as hard as he did to play in the league for as long as he did, probably played in the league longer than he should have, means he knows something. Like, look at Mike Kafka. Mike Kafka played quarterback. Go check his numbers. And he's a very bright offensive guy, and he tells quarterbacks what to do. So, like,
a lot of those guys had to watch film to even be playing in the league, like to be that good. They had to be like film junkies to do it, to even have that opportunity.
Yeah, and Dan Skipper's he's played. I mean, think of what he played: left tackle, right tackle. He's played guard. He's played 3 different positions on your O-line as a 6'9" offensive lineman. Like 6'9" dudes don't like, especially playing 3 different positions. Like he clearly there's a lot up here he has to offer. So I'm excited for him. I have the defensive staff too, which, by the way, here's that the defensive staff. Caleb Collins, defensive assistant. David Carrero, senior defensive assistant / outside linebackers coach. Sean Dion Hamilton, linebackers coach. August Mangian, defensive assistant. Casey Rogers comes back, run game coordinator, defensive line coach. Dre Thompson, defensive quality control. And then Deshae Townsend, passing game coordinator / DBs.
My favorite thing is about this list.
What?
They didn't change a thing.
Nope. Whole team comes back. Yeah,
we must have had the greatest defense in the world last year.
Whole squad came
that
back.
Staff.
Yeah, I know. That's the gamble that Dan's taking. Okay, that's the gamble he's taking. Not a single change on a defense that collapsed midseason. We're gonna be there tomorrow. I'm excited, and I'm not sure when Calvin Shepard, does he speaks, correct? At some point?
They sometimes they don't speak at the podiums. They do it like a side thing. I don't know if we're going to be, I don't know if that's just the Lions PR getting guys, or if we're going to have an actual.
You're probably right. They're probably going to do like a media scrum or something.
Yeah. Hopefully someone will, maybe the doc will tell us where and when, since we don't really, hopefully.
Well, I'll tell you this. I know for a fact, because I talked to the Lions Collective guys, that a question will be asked, and I'm looking forward to it, about him potentially changing, or has he thought of changing his defensive scheme? Like, that has to be asked, because what are you going to do? You're going to go into it. I mean, insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And I'm not saying this defense was the worst in the league to start the year. They were actually really good, but something schematically fell apart. Either the message wasn't getting across, or lack of adjustments. I don't know. I don't know what, if you want to throw in health, okay, sprinkle that in there, but they fell apart. That front seven was healthy and fell apart. There has to be something. If you bring back the entire coaching staff, there has to be something else that's tweaked. Maybe it's scheme, but we'll see. You're rolling the dice. Deshae Townsend was on the, I mentioned it before. We're just firing DB coaches, apparently blaming every single one of those guys. He gets brought back. Casey Rogers, he was under some heat. He gets brought back. Even though he had AQM had a really good year, so I think we got to give Casey Rogers some credit. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's all because of him, but the interior.
Well, let's do this. Let's do this. We'll cancel out AQM's year for Lee McNeil's year.
Well, yeah, in the interior. Well, then Roy Lopez maybe gets a little bump a little bit.
Okay, yeah. Okay, okay, we're
positive. It's like evening out, But Townsend, I don't know. The DBs were. Maybe it was the game that got him some love, and deservedly so, is probably the Legion of Whom game. where those DBs stepped in and played well, and no one knew who any of those guys were. Shout out to you. You knew Whiteside. He went to SVSU, but none of those guys are really known. So maybe he gets that. But yeah, to your point, big risk for them. We'll see how it works out. I don't know.
We'll see.
The same crew back. And then Raw Biz said in there, it was the injuries, not the coaching staff. Okay, so there's our first injuries comment. We knew
I saw that again today. I saw on Twitter people saying, "Oh, injuries." Because the strength staff, they released the strength staff, and it's the same strength and conditioning as it has been for the last 4 or 5 years, or however long it's been. And I saw people like, why didn't they change it? And then some people are like, it's not on them, it's just injuries. It's like, well, like, to prevent injuries, it's about having your body ready. It's about, how is practice going? How taking care of, and preparing, right? And it's just like, we got to stop blaming that. Like, it's not unlucky. I don't think the Lions were unlucky of the injuries the last 2 years. I think there's actually something within the organization that needs to be fixed. I don't know if it's strength staff. I don't know if it's, the practicing too hard. I don't know what it is. But you're just not at the bottom or the number one in the league in injuries for back-to-back years just based off of being unlucky. If that's the case, you are the unluckiest franchise of all time.
Yeah. Well, and that there's
in all of sport. Well, yeah, okay, fair enough. You know what? Fair enough. Yeah. I just kind of proved.
Some people might argue that, but yeah, I'm with you.
Maybe they are up to something. Maybe it is just luck.
Yeah, it's just it's easy to point the finger and say fire the strength and conditioning guys. I mean, like you said, the 49ers suffer a lot of injuries. Now you got people looking into some like plant next door they think it's causing injuries. It's like, guys, everyone's trying to point the finger for injuries. At the end of the day, that's what makes the NFL so interesting, is the team that makes it, the two teams that made it were the healthiest. Now, this season, though, was not last season where you had nobody on defense playing for you. That it was not. You cannot say this season, oh, it's just injuries again. No, not again. Last year was injuries. Not last year, 2 years ago now. Injuries. That 15-2 with that defense, you had Jamal Adams playing on that defense. Okay.
Shout out Jamal Adams, dude.
Hey, shout out Jamal. That defense, yes, that's injuries. We don't talk about it. That's why we don't poo-poo on it. We get it. It's injuries. We had this discussion. This year, you had Aiden, All-Pro, Jack Campbell, All-Pro, healthy in your front seven, and you couldn't stop the run.
Fell apart completely.
I mean, it wasn't. Jack Campbell was great. Aiden was great. You had two great players on defense. What? Come on. You know what I'm saying? Injuries play a part, yes, but that's not the whole story. And you're excusing poor coaching by saying it's all because of injuries. We already went through that, but yeah, like the Niners making the playoffs had everyone injured. It's like, okay, whatever. It's fine.
You just can't keep using the injury excuse. Like I fully like I think Drew Petzing in Arizona last year. I think that's an argument because your starting quarterback was out. Your top two running backs are out.
Yes.
You had offensive linemen out like that. Yeah, that's a massive deal. But like with the Lions, it's, hey man, and you know what too? Like one of the biggest things is a lot of people want to use the injury excuse, right? And be like, well, your safeties, your corner, that's all. But at the same time, there's press conferences of, Kelvin Shepard and these guys being like, we got to stop sleeping on these other guys in the secondary. Like these guys can play ball. Your guy that you love. Like these guys can play ball. They could play ball. Okay, then why is there an excuse of injuries? And then you have no excuse that this defense shouldn't have been top 10 if you're going to go in the media and say these guys are actually legit and people need to put more respect on their names. Okay, if you want us to do that, have a good defense then. If they're going to step in and the defense is going to decline, no respect will get put on their name. It's the NFL. This isn't college football where you're like, hey, man, like, hey, put some respect on. No, like, you win or you don't. And when defensively you're losing, there's no injury excuse at that point.
Yeah. I mean, look at the offense, dude. The offense had they had injuries all along the O-line. You had Sam Laporta out for this season. Amon-Ra missed a game. You had guys getting banged up on offense, and
they still put 30 points up a game.
Still tried. I mean, yeah, did they get stagnant? Of course. There was moments and shit, but they still. I mean, it's again, we're not saying that they should have won a Super Bowl, but they should have at least made the playoffs. I mean, we could agree.
Yeah,
you should have at least been in the dance, despite
just make the playoffs. You need to win one more game, and you're in. And you lost to the Vikings twice. You lost to the Steelers. You almost lost to the Jameis Winston Giants. It's like it's
with more injuries, by the way. Like no quarterback. They didn't have no quarterback.
Yeah.
No
And
Scatterbo.
it's like defensively, you gave up a Jameis Winston stiff armed someone and caught a touchdown pass and ran it in for a touchdown on you. What type of defense is that?
With your starting linebacker, Sam Linebacker.
I love D Barnes, man.
Shout out D Barnes, but like
but man,
he was playing.
But just as a whole in that game, like you couldn't stop a nosebleed, and they had half of their starting quarterback and running back and wide receiver one weren't even in the game. They were all hurt out for the year.
Yeah, Wendell Robinson tore the Lions up, man. That game.
At some point, it's like, oh, this is embarrassing. And who are the running backs too? Like at some point, this is embarrassing.
Singletary and Tracy. They scored like 30 on this defense. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. I got the clip of Dan Skipper talking about the O-line.
Skip. Love Skip.
So in here, you can get to kind of see Coach Skip speak. So here's Dan Skipper talking about that O-line and with Tim 21. Shout out to Tim 21.
How do you get back to being that unit from 23 and 24? What do you need?
Yeah, I think it starts with, attitude. You got to have guys who want to be the best, want to play hard, want to do those things right. And then obviously there's a level of skill involved that, you got to have. And then, the knowledge base. And once we start getting into it, you can't play fast if you're thinking. So, how can we make sure that these guys know exactly what they're supposed to do, but not have to be lost in thought on the field trying to figure out, it's different look from the picture or, whatever. But hey, I'm going to go block this guy. And now that's all I'm worried about is going to block this guy. I'm not sitting there thinking like, oh, do I, right. So you're just trying to think some of that and, we'll keep working through it. But, the foundation's there. We just got to, we took a little bit of a wrong turn. So let's get back on the road.
Yeah. Like I just threw in there, he's like, you got to have skill, of course. Like, we got to get better. Probably got to get better. Not that he meant that. I'm not trying to, put words in his mouth, but he did kind of mention skill, which everything else he said is true about like, less thinking, probably referring to like Tate, less thinking, more doing. Probably had a lot he was trying to process last year, but they just need to get better. Like they need better players. They just do. Like, is Taylor Decker at this point in his career what he once was? No. Graham, no. Just the reality. So can they get back to 2023? If the moves are made correctly this offseason, maybe it won't look like this initially, depending on how many rookies you have or who's starting, but they can get back to a good O-line. They just need to make a couple moves. Year 2, Tate's going to be incredible. We'll see what happens to Graham and Taylor, but they're not too far off from getting back to, like, in terms of the O-line. They got to get younger. They got to get more athletic. They got to get guys with more potential. Guys they're going up. Stocks are rising, not stocks are falling, like Decker and Graham. Those guys are depleting skill-wise. No offense to them, just reality. They're getting older. You typically don't get healthier as you get older when you're playing such a physical sport. So, yeah, shout out Skip, man. Coach Skip, he's spot on there. I can get used to Skip talking ball.
Dude, he sounds, again, I know you watched the whole thing. If you haven't yet, when we're done with the show today, go check it out. Skip just sounds like with the way he talks, he just sounds like he's like he's like a 10-year vet coach. He's been doing this. He sounds like a pro, man. And he's dead right. He mentioned throughout the this whole interview, just like, we just have to get our identity back on the offensive line. And I love the fact that he's like, sometimes people are like, oh, you don't need the skill. You just need to, someone's going to work hard. It's like, no, you do need the skill and you need the guy that's going to work hard and be able to, process everything. That's why Frank was so good. He had skill. He worked his tail off. And also he was so smart and could process, the game so quickly. And he put a lot of work in the film room to do so. And I think that's where Skip's kind of insinuating there is that, dude, we just need guys that have the skill, want to work, and are very smart football players. And when you have those, a little trio of those three in an offensive lineman, dude, you're set to go. Like you're all set. That's where I think, like, and I love Graham Glasgow. I think Graham his time with Detroit was amazing. And I know he's still under contract. I just don't see a world where they move forward with him on the starting line. Like maybe he's the sixth man and he's a rotational piece, or maybe they end up moving on from him and cutting him to save some money. But him, it's not that he's not smart and he doesn't work hard. He's just a little older and he's dealt with so many injuries, and the skill side of things just might not be there anymore with him. when you're talking about like an NFL level and you want a top 5 O-line, it kind of like, anchors you down a little bit.
Yeah. It's nothing personal. They just need to upgrade. They need better. They just do. Obviously, Graham's not Frank. No one's arguing that. No one argued that when he took over for Frank. It was unfair. He's stepping into a guy who, is an all-pro center, one of the best centers when he was playing. And Graham just simply is not as talented and he's not as gifted. And it's just a reality, like Graham is solid, but he looked less solid more often than not. It's just last year. It was the reality. Would he be a better sixth man? Would he be better if you just got rid of him and cut ties? I don't know. That's for Brad to decide, but I'm with you. They needed a new starting center. You got to go get in free agency. You got to get younger. You have to get younger. They did get younger technically on the offensive staff by bringing in Mike Kafka. And it was the first time you really got to hear Mike Kafka speak. And he talked about the offense. So let's hear from Mike Kafka joining the Lions offense.
Yeah. There's got to be a little bit of an excitement there of just what you can be. And now it's a fun time, right? Free agency starting next month. You're going to add some pieces. The draft is then after that. You get some more young pieces. With what you have coming back, it just seems like, do you think the potential obviously is very high for this offense and this passing game to continue what they've been doing the last couple of years?
Yeah, it's an exciting just based on the people that you have and the people that you're around. But again, we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
that's where kind of where my mind's at. And where can we help and where can I assist? Is probably the biggest thing.
Mike Kafka, the new passing game coordinator. Thanks so much for taking that on that. But I see the smile.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talked a lot. Honestly, the thing I loved watching him and just hearing him speak there people can go watch the full interview on Detroit Lions YouTube channel. But when he mentioned why he joined the Lions, like if we're being real, he's overqualified for the position. I mean, he's overqualified,
sure.
But he joined because maybe this is the terrible way to describe it, but he just liked the vibes. Just like the vibes over here. He really did. He's just like, love Dan Campbell, love what he represents, love the culture he's kind of put together here. I love the coaching staff, guys he's worked with, Drew Petzing and Hank Fraley when he was the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings years ago. They were both on staff, so he's got some familiarity there. Guy just loves the coaches he's working with, and I think it speaks really highly to Dan Campbell, his character, and honestly the connections he has in the league. Like, think of how many coaches in the league. I mean, we just saw it with Cliff Kingsbury. He just went and worked for Sean McVay and took basically a demotion. But like, you have to be a really good head coach to kind of demand that type of, guy will come and join your coaching staff and take a lesser role just to be under you. Knowing that he'll get a job, knowing the offense is going to have success, he's going to be a part of that success, and he'll get a job. Speaks a lot to what the Lions. I mean, this is foreign for this is only the last couple of years you've seen it with Dan Campbell, but before this would never have happened. So it's just a reminder for how much things are different here in Detroit.
Yeah, I think once we get into it, like we've been in the weeds a lot the last year or so since the Commanders lost, and then last year you forget a little bit, the culture and what this team's actually about, and that outsiders do look at this organization right now. It was a very highly touted organization with Dan and Brad at the helm. So you do get to forget that a little bit, because as a fan, covering the Lions, what's happened the last 12 months has been unfathomable. What a word there. That's my new word. How many syllables was that?
I believe it's 5 syllables.
See, there we go. I need to hit a 5-syllable word every show. I think I need to do that.
4 or 5
do we
syllables?
Do we have the ding anymore? Ding. There you go. Good job.
We actually, you know what? We do.
We do. There we go. That every time I hit my 5-syllable word every show moving forward, I'm going to do one a show. I want the ding. But I just think people forget that, and I think like a guy like Mike Kafka, I think you're spot on. The dude is overqualified to be a pass game coordinator in Detroit. He should be an OC. He was just essentially, the interim head coach for an NFL franchise, and he did not do bad for the franchise that he was doing it for with what they had. So I mean, he's a highly touted, coach. it's shocking still that he's the pass game coordinator here. But I'll tell you what, I think a lot of coaches, like especially like Mike Kafka, you want to be able to, like, before you get that next opportunity, sometimes you want to be able to learn under new people, and you want to be able to kind of see how things are, working in specific buildings and cultures. And I think one of the reasons, in my opinion, that he did choose Detroit, I think it might have been because he wants to learn a little bit under the Dan Campbells of the world. And then he obviously, you have Amon-Ra, you have Jared Goff, you have Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, JMO, like, you're stacked. So obviously that's something for him to be able to, you want to go into a place, the pass game is going to be successful. So next off season, he can get an opportunity to be at OC at a higher, maybe a better franchise than like the New York Giants. But he's such a smart guy. Just listen to the interview. He doesn't give a lot away in the interview, but you could tell he's just a very, very smart, high level football coach that, like, all he wants to do is talk about ball. He didn't really give much emotion. I know Tim Twentyman was like, I see you smiling there. Like, I didn't even see a smile. He just was like straight face the whole time, just like, let me talk some ball. I'm going to get out of here and I want to go work on, spacing a little bit more. I want to go figure those things out. That was the vibe I got from him.
Yeah, that was the correct vibe. I mean, he's just he's someone that I think is going to have a major impact on the offense. I just do. I think he brings ideas, and I think he honestly, and I mean this again respectfully to Drew Petzing, but brings me a level of comfortability. Not that Drew Petzing's not, a good offensive coordinator, but just having another guy in there with different ideas. Yep. He's seen it. You know what I mean? He was an interim head coach, which honestly is kind of similar. I guess he kind of saw it in Dan Campbell, because Dan Campbell was an interim head coach with the Dolphins, didn't get a head coaching job, and worked under Sean Payton, and then ended up getting a head coaching job with the Lions. So maybe Mike Kafka kind of takes a similar route where, he's an interim head coach, didn't work out, didn't get a job, boom, goes to the Lions, gets up for an OC job or a head coaching job at some point. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. Drew Petzing has all the tools at his disposal in terms of assistants. I mean, you got some really good assistants under you. You got Mike Kafka, you got Dan Campbell, of course, an offensive guy. He had Jonathan Gannon, so he didn't really get to lean on him as much. You mentioned David Shaw as a part of that staff, working with the pass game. So the pass game, Drew's very knowledgeable with the run game. So they have a pretty stacked staff, which honestly makes me, I don't know how I feel about the defense still, but regardless, the offense has some bright guys in it. And actually, Ben Johnson was asked about Drew Petzing and had some very interesting things to say about Drew Petzing. He complimented him because they're obviously friends and they have a history there. Prior to Detroit, I'm going to read some parts of this article, and this is actually from Dave Perquette's article talking to Ben Johnson. And this is what Ben Johnson said about the Lions hiring Drew Petzing, and he gave some high praise for him. He said, I think he's going to blow those players away just from a knowledge standpoint, from a connection standpoint. I fully expect that offense to be clicking at a high level next year. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. And I think there's a reason why Dan, from what I could gather, casts a wide net for the offensive coordinator job, and Drew hit the right notes in terms of what he was looking for. He said, I can see this being a great fit, knowing Dan and knowing Drew both. I think it's probably a match made in heaven. He also said, I think it's a really smart decision by Dan. It's going to be hopefully not too big of a headache on us, but I see it being a really good match. So Ben Johnson, big fan of Drew Petzing, which obviously, I mean, they're friends.
So I was going to say, like, when I saw that today, I was like, yeah, I think it's good to get a quote from it. And it's good to hear, the feedback from Ben.
Not much to me.
He was always going to say that.
Yeah. I think it, I'll say this. Was Ben ever going to say, it's not, we'll see how, whatever, not say much, probably not. I think he didn't have to say as much as he said, maybe, he definitely spoke. I think it's going to be a perfect match. Maybe that's where I'm led to believe Ben really believes Drew Petzing's a really good offensive guy. Maybe he said more than he had to, which means they have a good relationship. That Ben understands Drew. The reality is he can know offense. He could be a very bright guy. We just have to see him call plays. I mean, it's always different. Guys, there's a lot of bright offensive guys in the league. You know what I'm saying? A lot of bright offensive guys. But can you call plays? Like Ben is gifted calling plays. He's just really good at it. There's a lot of coaches that are really good at calling plays. That's what we're going to see about Drew Petzing. I think he's a bright offensive guy. I think he does a lot of things well the Lions want to do, and I think it's a really good match. But
yeah,
I mean,
I think you're going to be you could be the smartest offensive mind in the NFL. But I think when it comes to calling plays, I think we learned it. With John Moore, you learned it with Dan Campbell a little bit. There's a rhythm to it, right? Like there's a feel for it. You got to know how specific situations, but also the players that are on your team, what do they like, all those different things. And some guys have it, some guys don't. And you could be the smartest offensive mind in the NFL, and you're just not the best play caller, right? But you're good at putting schemes together, and you're good at drawing plays, and you're good at doing behind the scenes stuff. I don't think that's Drew Petzing. I think Drew Petzing is going to be a really good play caller. I think, with the good team, and this is the best opportunity that he's had in his career. I think he's going to shine doing it. But I'm going to take what Ben Johnson said with a grain of salt. Like, I'm not going to sit here and run with it. I think, yeah, you're right, Jeff. Ben could have easily just been like, hey, he's going to do a good job. Like, I'm excited for him. But he did go into depth a little bit, right? Like, it's a perfect match. Like, so, like, I think that's the kind of the grain of salt I'll take is, hey, man, like, he did hype him up a little bit in a sense of, like, he does believe in Drew Petzing at a very high level, which he didn't have to do that. I know it was like one of those things where it's like, oh, he's his friend. He didn't have to go into the details and everything that he did. So you do kind of take it a little bit and say, oh, okay, like maybe there is something here. Like maybe we do need to give Drew Petzing a better shot than I think a lot of people gave John Moran. And I don't think I don't think a lot of people gave John Moran any the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was just me that was like pumped up about John Moran. And the only reason I was because he was in the room when they built the offense. So I thought maybe there was something correlated there.
Yeah, which is fair. You thought there'd be some like continuity. Well, a lot of people did. It wasn't like that's where I think in the NFC North, you're going to find out a lot because Drew Petzing is going to go up against Brian Flores, Jonathan Gannon, Dennis Allen. You know what I mean? And then we get to the NFC, you still have Chris Shula over there with the Rams. There's going to be some
I just realized today Chris Shula's still the DC. I thought he was going to get a head coaching job. Shocking that he didn't. And then I saw them release their staff. I saw Chris Shula there, and I was like,
yeah, the Lions did put up 30 on him. But you get my point. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of really bright defensive coaches that, Drew Petzing's going to have to battle. But here's the good news. Doesn't have to do it alone. You got Mike Kafka, Dan Campbell in there. So it's good.
I will say this, Jeff, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. If anyone disagrees in the chat, please. I would love to have a pushback on it. If you think I'm wrong, the Lions have top three, if not the best, a top three offensive staff in the entire NFL. From, and I know like you could say like the OC isn't an experienced guy, but when you talk about Drew Petzing to Dan Campbell being on the staff, who is a really good offensive mind, as he doesn't get enough credit, I don't think. But then you go to Mike Kafka, who is just an OC and an interim head coach, David Shaw, Hank Fraley, Scotty Montgomery. Like you have one of the most stacked offensive staffs in the NFL. So there's no reason next year your offense should struggle at all. The only thing, it's like last year, the thing they need to figure out, and honestly, Jeff, this is where I think people don't give enough or take enough into account. What was the issue? What was the only issue with Ben Johnson when his last year or two in Detroit? Specifically his last year, it came up a lot. What was it? Do you remember?
I guess it would be the third quarter.
Third quarter adjustments. What was the issue this last year with them and versus good teams? Third quarter. And it was, so it's like the same issue. So like even you can argue even with Ben Johnson, hey, you can't get another Ben Johnson. Drew Petzing can't be Ben Johnson. Well, what was Ben Johnson's issue when he was here that we all got mad about? Making adjustments coming out of half in the third quarter. Like that was an issue even before when we had Ben Johnson. So I think this offense is good. I think last year it was good, but I think it's like third quarter and when they go 3 straight 3-and-outs to start a half, like that's an issue. So I think that's something they need to figure out this offseason, and they need to really put a lot of work in figuring that one out. And you have the staff to do it, dude.
Yeah, I will say, at least for those guys, I mean, you are right. They are a really good offensive staff. It's really like you're not going to have Drew and Ben trying to out-scheme each other. I mean, they're going to have to score points, but it's going to be Ben Johnson versus Calvin Shepard. No. It's going to be Calvin Shepard versus Kevin O'Connell, Ben Johnson, Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan. Like, that's where we're going. That's what matters. Okay. That's what we should be trying and predict what's going to happen. Okay. That's what matters is Calvin versus those guys. Okay. And then the AFC.
People are saying I'm falling out of Wi-Fi here.
You're better now. You were, but you're back. You're better. It was just a moment you were lagging, but you're back. You're better now, Boone.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I could tell. I mean, but I knew you battled through it. You're back. All right. What we could do, I'll tell you what. We'll take a break. I'll tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. And then when we get back, we'll get into our third NFL mock draft for the 2026 NFL draft. We'll see you guys in a minute. I've interrupted the show to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper, and I've been using Sleeper's team pick feature. It's very simple, and it's a game changer. Every week, you can lock in team-based picks, spreads, outcomes, performance projections straight from the Sleeper app. No complicated setup, no bouncing between apps. You already use Sleeper for fantasy, so now you can turn those takes into action. So if you're using Sleeper and trying to call upsets, predicting breakout games, or riding your squad every Sunday, make it count. Download Sleeper, tap into team picks, and back your football IQ today. I decided to back my Detroit Pistons and roll with them to win the Eastern Conference. Always be responsible and always gamble responsibly, and never bet anything you're not willing to lose. But a big shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the video. Now let's get back to it. All right. We got our mock drafts for Mock Draft Monday. Go ahead, Boone. What do you want to bring up?
I was just gonna. I thought of it. I just wanted to bring it up to the people. Did you see Kyle Pitts today? Franchise tagged.
He did. Okay. No,
Kyle Pitts got franchise tagged about $15 million. The reason I just wanted to bring it up real quick, and so did George Pickens getting franchise tagged officially as well. So there's already two guys, which I think last year there wasn't a lot. Already two guys franchise tagged. I just think as soon as I saw him, the first thought in my head was their Lions aren't going to re-sign, or they're not going to extend Sam Laporta for a while. And like if they're serious about trying to figure out this cap and making sure this thing's all right, like Sam Laporta's been injured 2 of the 3 years that he's been in Detroit. He's going to get franchise tagged next year. Like at some point,
can do that. It's
at some point with these contracts. No, it's 15, and it's not like you're disrespecting Sam, right? It's $5 less million. It's essentially just saying, hey, we got to figure out this cap. We're gonna get you paid eventually. We just need one more extra year. Like we essentially needed you like a first round pick for a 5th year, and then we'll figure out your contract and we'll find space for you. That's how I look at it with Sam, because you know what I mean. Like we're like, who do you pay? Sam, Jameer. Well, you could get Sam on around $15 million a year instead of 20 something. Which is a steal. You're saving $5-6 million.
Yeah, it's fully guaranteed, but it's for 1 year. So you just have to bite the bullet. You get Sam an extra year. I don't know if
I would be shocked if they don't do that. I would be shocked if they don't.
Yeah, I think that's going to be another player. Yeah. So Kyle Pitts and George Pickens, we talked about that last week too. Not surprised. Those guys are coming up. It's only going to happen. Lions have yet to use a franchise tag, and it comes off as disrespectful, but it's sometimes the best play business-wise.
Yeah.
Smart financial decision. So
I think that the reason they have yet to use it, they just haven't been in a position where they've needed it, because their cap is, when they rebuilt this team, they obviously essentially started over with the cap space. So now you're in year 4 or 5 where your cap is becoming a factor. That's when you have to start really utilizing different sources, and it comes down to like franchise tag is one of those pieces to keep guys around.
Yeah, and to the comment like Shift got, some players don't like playing in franchise tags. Yeah, but that if it's a player that has a lot, that still has something to prove, they're going to play. Like Kyle Pitts will play. He can't really say anything. I mean, you're getting paid top 5 money, basically guaranteed to do what? Like Kyle Pitts at one point, it was like, we're getting rid of him. And then he came alive. So he'll play. Sam Laporta battling injuries, he'll play. Like if it's a guy who's has been balling, and
I can see why George Pickens might not.
George Pickens
all pro this last year.
Where he's like, hey, I'm getting paid somewhere, bro. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. He can sit out, you know what I mean, and he'll get paid. But yeah, so that's kind of why. Yeah, there are some players that don't like playing on it. All right, so we have our mock drafts today. We decided, I think we both did trades as well. So we both did trades in our mock today. We both traded back, which I thought was that's going to be kind of this week's theme as well. As it's the last mock before the combine. So we'll have a better idea of some players, risers, fallers, and I'm sure we'll talk about all that this week as well. But this is kind of our pre-NFL Combine last mock.
Yeah. I approached this one, Jeff. I don't know how you went about it. I approached this one with some players that I think might have a really good combine and do well and move up the board, that I'm and as well, like, players that I'm interested to see on Thursday to Sunday this week. That's kind of how I went about this one. Essentially kind of some players for Lions fans to look out for in the combine, and just to kind of like a little check, like, hey, just keep an eye out on this guy. And I have about 4 or 5 guys like that. That I wanted to kind of bring to the people. That's why I drafted them today. So it's a little bit of a different mock draft, at least for me it is. But I do love my board. I like what I have. These are just kind of keep an eye out on these guys.
So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first? Would you like to take it today?
I can. It's up to you. Like, I don't know. Is there a benefit of going first and second? I don't think there is. I think it's just
Usually I go first because I already put mine out. I did not put mine out today, so I can go.
You
today.
Go first. Yeah, do your thing, man. Like, actually,
right.
You know what? I'll go first.
Okay. So
let's mix it up a little bit. You want to mix it up?
Take it away. So tell the people you want to hear. We'll show off your trade because you made a trade.
Yeah.
First.
The trade isn't really anything super significant. I think this is kind of fair if you're going to trade back. I had mentioned if you trade back, from 17 to 29, 28, 27, 30, like you're probably going to be able to snag, if a team's willing to do it, a second round pick or even maybe something a little bit more than that. I don't know if you can get a first round pick this year if someone wants to trade up, but I think you can still get some good assets. So I traded 29. I traded 4, pick 29 and 61. And then I gave up 17, but then I also from 155, I moved up to 93 to move back as well. So essentially added another second round pick and then moved up about 60 spots later in the draft to where I think I have 4 or 5 top 100 picks just for moving back. And then obviously you can see, you can zoom out a little bit more, Jeff, or go to the right a little bit. But obviously, you see I moved back with the Los Angeles Rams, and I snagged at number 29 overall, Monroe Freeling. Jeff, I don't know your feelings on Monroe Freeling, but as I start getting closer to the combine, today I watched a lot of Monroe Freeling. I listened to some people break down kind of the thoughts on him. He had like 18 starts, I think, in his career, maybe 16 starts. There's a chance when his career gets going in the NFL and he gets experience and stays healthy and gets rolling, there's a chance that he's the best tackle in this draft class.
He's got a high upside.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing with tackles, and I think a lot of people, especially in today's NFL, with the edge rushers you're going up against, what would you say, Jeff, are the 2 main measurements that you look at with a tackle, especially a left tackle, when you have to go up against Micah Parsons and Aiden Hutchinson?
I would say arm length in foot speed, how fast you are laterally with your feet.
I think those are the 2 main things. And when you talk about this draft class and tackles, Monroe Freeling's going to have one of the, and obviously measurements will happen this week at the combine, but I believe he has around 84-inch arms. I believe it says here. And he runs a 4.1 40. So he has a very, very high level speed for his height and his size. And then also his arm length is very, 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 very good for an offensive tackle. And those are like 2 things you look at and you go, wait a second. If this kid has some speed and some foot speed and can move around and his agility is good and he has the arm length, he's probably going to be a high-level offensive tackle in the NFL. Whether it's going to be the left side or the right side for him, I think he can do either or. He played left tackle this last year for Georgia. He has taken snaps, I believe, at right tackle earlier in his career when guys might have gone down and he just stepped in. But I'm starting to fall in love with this guy. If you can get him in the second or the end of the first round, I'm all in on drafting Monroe Freeling, Jeff. And this is a guy this week. I'm sorry, not a 4.1, guys, a 5.1. I apologize. I just saw in the chat people said 4.1. A 4.1 tackle would be crazy. 5.1. I apologize.
Draft him right now.
I have 5.1 written in my notes too, by the way. And I don't know why. I think I want to run a 4. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think just with the size, Jeff, and the upside that he has, let's say Taylor Decker stays. You have Monroe Freeling learning behind Taylor Decker for another year. Monroe Freeling is going to be an elite offensive tackle in the NFL one day. And if you have a Panay Sewell Monroe Freeling duo for the next 6 or 7 years, you're set. You're good to go. As long as they both stay healthy, you're elite. And specifically some of the stats I also look at for tackles to look at last year, he only gave up 2 sacks, Jeff, which is elite. And he only had 2 penalties. So it's like, this is a guy who just does not make mistakes. High level pass blocker as well. Like in pass protection, one of the best in the country. Elite pass protector. Now run blocking obviously can improve, but I think that's one of those things working with the offensive, Hank Fraley, Panay, like those guys, like learning a little bit more. I don't think that's something that he's going to struggle with fully. I think it's just like, hey, can he get a lead at it? He's good at it. Can he get a lead at it? And I think if you're looking at these tackles, man, I think sitting at 17, like, yeah, you could take all these tackles you want, but maybe it's a little reaching. You can move back and still get a guy like Monroe Freeling. You really can. So I love Monroe Freeling. A couple other guys. These are guys I'm just going to be looking at this week. Romello Heights, Jeff, out of Texas Tech. I've been telling you about these Texas Tech kids. And obviously with David Bailey, who essentially just was the pass rusher across from Romello Heights. Those two just went at quarterbacks all year. Romello had, I think, 9.5, 10 sacks this year. Just a high motor. The thing with him, he's kind of like a situational third down speed rusher. So he's essentially kind of like your AQM. Jeff, I will say this too. I almost did not draft an edge rusher high because I looked at the free agent class of edge rushers and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I feel like there's a world where we go into this class and we go free agency instead of edge in the draft. Mm-hmm. So I almost passed on Romello Heights and I almost just said, I'm just not going to go edge until 180, 187, 204, and I'll get like an edge to work my way up. But I ended up deciding on Romello Heights. I think he has a high upside. He could be really good. He could be a really good just speed rusher. There's I don't know if you've heard about the ghost move at Texas Tech, but David Bailey and Romello Heights are like both elite at this ghost move coming off the edge. Like that's why I think David Bailey's like known, like that's like his signature where everyone's like, watch out, David Bailey's ghost. Romello Heights has the same exact thing. The only problem, obviously, run defense. I mean, he's not going to go in there and blow up a tackle and stop the run. But he's like
a better, younger, higher upside AQ.
Exactly. 100%. You have him for a 4-year rookie contract. And then your first down, second down, your run stopping, downs. That's when you have your Levi, Josh Pascal in there to kind of, hold that down. Or if you get a free agent, a Joey Bosa, and then you have Romello Heights coming off and, coming in for him. 61. This is, I don't know if you've heard of him, Jeff. Kamari Ramsey. Are you familiar?
I am not. No. Kamari Ramsey.
So I watched some film of him today. I don't want people to take this the wrong way, but I got him in the second round. He kind of reminds me of Brian Branch when I watched this film today. And that's not like a exaggeration. Like this kid, Jeff, throw him in the slot. You could throw him at free safety. You could throw him in. He could play in the box anywhere you want. And he is just an absolute dog, just a football player. I wish I could show you some film right now and I could just show you some of the stuff that I watched today. Like coming downhill, the hits. Do you remember the New York Giants preseason game? Brian Branch like blowing up. Who was the one dude? The receiver, the red hair receiver. I don't remember his name. But he like blew him up in a preseason game. That reminds me of Kamari Ramsey when I watched him today. Like he will blow up a play, downhill speed like insanely good, and he doesn't miss tackles. But he can also play in coverage too, and he's really good. The downside, no downside. Downside I had written down here for a different player.
No cons.
No cons. All pros. No cons. And I had circled here. I had 2 words here, it's technically 4 words here, circled really, really big on my paper. Playmaker, circled really big, and also big hitter, circled really, really big. And then I put equals effort. He's a Dan Campbell guy. And if you get him in the second round, that's like another future safety for you. If you don't know what's happened with Kirby, if you don't know if you're going to pay Brian Branch, you go get a guy like Kamari Ramsey. Very, 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 very good safety. He's going to be a good safety in the NFL. Next one, Kyle Lewis. I'm not going to go into depth in some of these players, Jeff, because we've talked about these guys ad nauseum, and I don't want to overdo it with some of these guys, but we know what Kyle Lewis is. I saw someone in the chat earlier today say he can go. He might be able to play, in the slot as a safety. He maybe will be able to play Alex Anzalone's role, Jeff. Me and you talked about that a couple weeks ago because he could play in coverage so well. But I do love Kyle Lewis. I was trying so hard to get our guy Rodriguez at 93, and he ended up going 91. I almost texted you and said, can you just throw him in there for me, please? Jacob Rodriguez, please. But I didn't want to cheat the system.
Yeah, Kyle Lewis, I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather have a Jacob Rodriguez, but if whoever's available, if Kyle Lewis is available, I'd go Kyle Lewis around that spot. I won't get into Joy Royer a lot because I did talk about him in my first mock draft 1.0. Love Joy Royer. I think, you know what I was actually thinking more so, Jeff, with the Lions in the tight end position? I think that if they're going to get a tight end, I think they're going to target more of a receiving tight end this year. I really do, because the thing is, when Sam Laporta goes down, they don't really have a receiving threat at tight end when he goes down. Brock Wright,
anything out of there.
Yeah. And like Brock Wright, he you know, people like live on him getting a couple touchdowns here, and they also live on Shane Zylstra getting 3 touchdowns in one game. But like, they don't really provide you much receiving when Sam's down. So I think they're going to look at a guy like Joy Royer, who in his last year at Cincinnati, lots of production. He's had a lot of production in his career. Good hands, great route runner. Like he's going to be a good tight end in the NFL, and you can get him later. This Washington corner, I had to get a corner in this draft, Jeff. Wasn't familiar with Takario Davis, but you know what I saw that really just won me over? He's 6'4".
My gosh.
Just a big corner. Just a massive corner. The only I did have a downside. I had a con on him. Well, there was actually 2. One, he's not super fast. His speed is an issue. I actually did watch some of his film today. He played at Arizona. I watched a lot of his Arizona stuff. He can get beat a little bit, and he can't really catch up because he's so, I don't know if it's because he's so big, so he just doesn't have that like top end speed. But also his injuries. He had a hamstring. He had a rib. Quite a bit of injuries this last year. He only played in 7 games, but he is a 6'4", obviously big body corner. He can match up. I would think in the NFL as well, he's going to be able to match up with anyone in the NFL. You could throw him on a DK, you could throw him on a big body receiver, and he's going to match up, and he's going to be able to play him hard. And especially in like a little man press, which the Lions do. I think he's an absolute dog. I saw an interception he had this year. It looked like he dove like 5 feet to catch this pass, and he's a playmaker, and he's a dog.
Yeah, you know, I don't know much
6'4".
about him. I have to watch. I gotta check him out.
Yeah, I didn't know much either. Too, when I got to 180, I was like, I just want to get a corner, and he was like the 2nd or 3rd on the board. And as soon as I saw he was 6'4", and then I watched probably 4 or 5 minutes of him, I was like, I'm sold on him. The only issue, it's like his injuries, but I mean, dude, he's 180. You're picking him at 180. It's not like you're picking him, you know, like Ennis Rakestraw in the 2nd round. So I'll take it. At that point, Logan Jones. We've talked a lot about Logan Jones, Jeff, at center. Probably one of the best. I think I saw, Jeff, he gave up 0 sacks this last year.
Sounds right.
I believe he gave up 0 sacks this last year for a center. That's incredible from him. So I love Logan Jones. Kalen Black. I just wanted to get a running back, to be honest, and getting a guy like him who had production at Indiana, won a national championship, knows how to win at a high level at 200, all in on that. And then there is a pick missing on here. I'll say this, and Jeff, I told you before the show, I don't know if you have, if you're able to pull up. So before we pull it up, the final pick was at pick 222. I picked a quarterback, and last year, people know my quarterback that I was really, really high on over any quarterback in the class outside, obviously, you know, Cam Ward's good. Tyler Shuck was my guy last year at the combine. It was my guy going into the combine last year. And even coming out of the combine, I said, watch out, Tyler Shuck. And obviously you saw the success that he had. I'm not going to label fully this guy as my Tyler Shuck, Jeff, because this guy's not going to go in the 2nd round. So I think it's unfair expectations. So you know who I'm going to say my Tyler Shuck is of this year? I'm just going to throw it out there because the combine, we're leaving tomorrow morning. Carson Beck, that's going to be my guy this year, like the Tyler Shuck of this year. But if I had to go with my number 2 quarterback that I really love in this class, it's a quarterback out of North Dakota State, Cole Payton. He threw this last year for 2,700 yards, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But on top of that, He rushed for over 700 yards and 13 rushing touchdowns. I think he's a sleeper, obviously coming from North Dakota State. They have had some quarterbacks come out. Obviously, with the Trey Lance, you haven't seen the success. But this kid, Jeff, very, very, very underlooked because of where he played. But his skill set, and you could see the man is mobile, but he puts every single ball exactly where it needs. I saw a stat today. Look at this pass with ease. He didn't even try. He just boop. And then remember, hold on, pause it real quick. Do you remember last year my argument with Tyler Shuck when we actually watched this film when I talked about Tyler Shuck? I had you do the same thing, pull up his film. Do you remember one of the things that I said about Tyler Shuck last year in his film that we pulled up? He throws the ball with ease. It just comes out and it doesn't look like he's any effort. 50 yards, perfect spot, just boop. And to me, that's experience. Like, this guy's a 4th or 5th year guy. He played in college for 5 years. It's experience. And it's like, I think that's one of the most important things in the NFL is your accuracy. And it's like, you can have the biggest arm you want. Are you accurate with it? Look at Anthony Richardson, one of the biggest arms ever. Struggled, to make the simple passes. Like, yep. and he always was getting injured and just struggled with those things. A guy like Cole Payton,
gotta make the
yes, he makes the layups, but also even the deep passes, he knows where a guy wants it. And one of the biggest things too with this guy, and you just saw it there, if you didn't notice, he makes elite throws on the run. And you just can't teach that, dude. That's like, and I'm not going to say this is Josh Allen, nothing like that, but that's like the stuff like that Josh Allen does. That's the stuff that like Patrick Mahomes does on the run, making throws, but while making those throws, they're accurate throws. The stat that I came across today, his big time throw rate in all of college football ranked #1 in college football in the country this last year. Big time throw rate. His accuracy this year was 18th in all of college football. So like, this guy, he's legit. Listen, and I saw J-Mo Lion King. That's the only downfall I think of Cole Payton is he's a lefty. That's the only downfall. And I hate lefties. But if you can get over that fact, I drafted him 222 to come in and just learn under Jared Goff, learn with Mark Brunell, and just get a guy in there that, that's where you kind of need with your last pick of the draft. Can you just find a guy? Can you find your Brock Purdy? I think someone's going to get a steal with Cole Payton this year. And he might not be a starter next year, but I think eventually he's going to have an opportunity. He might wow some people.
Yeah, the draft the combine could help him a lot. Because you'll get to see his accuracy, his arm. He'll run the 40. I'm sure. I don't know for sure. I would assume he's running the 40. So his stock could boost.
A lot of quarterbacks don't, but I would think because he's a mobile quarterback, he would.
Yeah, he'll probably. Like
Diego, well, you know who ran it last year? The only quarterback that did last year.
Chuck. Yeah. The athletic quarterbacks. You want to be able to show off, hey, I can run too if we need me to, if I need to. So, yeah, I expect him to kind of rise up draft boards. He's intriguing, man. He really is. I don't know.
That left-handed throw, man. That's it.
Yeah. Carson Wentz came out of North Dakota State.
Yep, Trey Lance.
Trey Lance did. Well, but he could be the next. Maybe he could have a Carson Wentz kind of projection rather than a Trey Lance. I don't know. Who knows? But no, I like it. I think I actually have a similar player in mind as well. We drafted the same player in one of our picks, and I think he's a very, very intriguing player. So for my mock draft, this is what I decided to go with. All right. And I made a trade as well. So let's look at the trade. So for me, I moved back with the Eagles. I traded 17th and a 5th for the 1st and a 2nd, 23 and 54. Listen, the trade, you're probably going to have to give up another probably pick or something. I'm not the trade guy. I'm just showing you what I did. That's Brad. He's going to have to iron that out. But I'm sure Howie Roseman's going to be calling. Someone's falling that he loves. You could probably make a trade and trade back. So I decided, hey, why not? I'll trade back 6 spots with the Eagles and take a player that I really liked this entire process. Caleb Lomu, tackle out of Utah. 1,500 snaps at tackle the last 2 years. Left tackle, 2 sacks, giving up 0 sacks this past season. So a very, very good, solid, steady pass protector. He's 6'6", 308. They have two really good tackles coming out. They have obviously Spencer Fano, but Caleb Lomu's the kind of guy that's not getting talked about as much. But he's got ready to play ability. I mean, he's got the experience. I think his upside is very intriguing, and his pass protection is very impressive. So I like Caleb Lomu a lot during this whole process. And I'm excited to kind of see where he ends up falling. It'll probably be in the 20s at some point. The player drafted, him and Monroe Freeling are about around the same. I probably overdrafted him by a couple picks. But again, I always do my mock drafts the same. If I really like a guy, I'm just going to take him. And at 23, I wanted to take Caleb Lomu. So that's what I decided to do. At 50, we have the same player, Romello Heights, the defensive end. I just like when I was going through and watching him and trying to like learn more about him, I just like his upside, obviously, but like what Kelvin could do with him as like a chess piece. I think that's very intriguing. I think he's like a guy who could maybe play some like outside linebacker potentially. I mean, he's 6'3", 240, but he moves really well. You look at last year, this is what I thought was very interesting. You look at true pass rush data, like just true pass rush data, meaning sets were basically it was measured as a true pass rush. It wasn't like, it's just how they basically gather up statistics for guys when they're rushing the passer. So in true pass rush data, you have true pass rush grade, true pass rush snaps, and then percentage and win percentage in those positions. Ruben Bain had a 92.5 true pass rush grade. Ruben Bain's going to be like a top 10 pick. Romello Heights, 92.2. Ruben Bain had a 31.40 win percentage in true pass rush sets. Romello Heights had a 29.90. He actually had a higher pressure rate. We love pressures here in Detroit, Romello Heights, than Ruben Bain in true pass rush sets. Ruben Bain was he had a 24% pass rush win rate, pressure rate. Romello Heights had 29.30. So Romello Heights is someone who you could get at 50 that has a lot of similar measurements in kind of not only production, but also along with the win rate and the pressure percentage and true pass rush snaps as some of these guys who are first round picks. Like, he's got a lot of talent. Obviously, we know what he's about over there with his measurables. I think Brad Holmes is going to like him a lot, and he's very, very productive. So Romello Heights, pay attention. Texas Tech, we talk a lot about him, the talent they have. He had 10 sacks this last year, 2 forced fumbles, but he had kind of a massive year after having more of a quiet college career. So I think it's someone that's trending upward and someone the Lions should definitely look at. 54, I got my guy, man, consistent. And he's probably going to go a little later than this, but I can't wait till 118. I just can't. I can't wait till 118. I had to grab him. He's probably going to be 20 or so picks after this, but I'm not waiting. I'm not risking it. I'm taking my guy, Jake Slaughter, the center out of Florida, cerebral, which we talked about earlier with centers. Very important when you talk about playing the position. Intelligence on top of leadership abilities, which he was a team captain at Florida. Very athletic. One of the best overall centers in the entire draft, but he has the size and, the quickness, the upside, the skill set, the technique, all that stuff to play center in the NFL. And if your biggest trait as a center is how cerebral you are and your intelligence, I think Jared Goff can appreciate that. He's a very intelligent guy. He wants someone, not that Graham's dumb or anything, not saying that, but Jake, I think, will be a perfect fit to kind of even play year one, or if they want to wait, then wait. He can develop and play in year 2, but I think he'd be a great pick at 54. And then at 118, I took a running back earlier than I have in the past, Nicholas Singleton. And we talked about earlier in the show, running backs that are going to rise. Nicholas Singleton is going to run probably a 4.4, if not quicker, probably a 4.3 to 4.4. So assuming he does that, he's going to rise. I mean, we know what he was as a freshman, 1,000-yard back. But he's the type of back I think the Lions are really going to like too. He could catch passes. He's got the big playability. He's big. And I think if you have any doubts about Montgomery's future, if you're Brad or maybe after his contract's up and you want someone ready to play, this would be a significant upgrade for them and who they have as RB3. He's better than Vaki. And he averaged about 5 or 6 yards a carry for his career. Big playmaker. So I think he fits really well with this Lions team. If you think it's too high for a back, That's fair, but he was the best player on the board, and I wanted to take a swing. 155, Dolan Bentley, tight end out of Utah. He's trending upwards, and I think he's going to do a lot this week to raise his draft stock. He's kind of a one-year wonder at Utah, but balled out. And we saw what, Dalton Kincaid was able to do at Utah. Had obviously a massive year, got drafted in the first round, but Dolan Bentley is not the prospect he is, but kind of a sleeper tight end. To your point earlier about receiving tight ends, Dolan Bentley can do that. Solid run blocker, but again, to your point earlier, I think they're going to target more receiving tight ends, and he is that. 187, Jalen Husky. This is where, you know what? I always do it every year. I'm going to agree with my guy, Mel Kiper. Okay. Mel Kiper said Jalen Husky is his seventh overall graded safety. I didn't know that until I started looking into him. And I said, wow. Because I really like Jalen Husky. And then I saw Mel Kiper likes Jalen Husky. And I don't know if I should like him now or be more worried about it. But Jalen Husky's very productive. Very productive. Do
you have your glasses?
I don't. I don't have my glasses, but
you got to bring those to the combine.
I don't have my Mel Kiper glasses, but if I did, I would say the production on Jalen Husky is worth every bit of what Mel Kiper's saying. He's like a couple pick a year guy at Maryland. So I think if you're looking for a playmaker back there at safety, Jalen Husky's the perfect fit for that, especially at 187. Linebacker out of Oregon, Bryce Botchter. We kind of went through him. We've already talked about him. Good special teams guy. And, typically I kind of broke the golden rule here where if you're taking late round guys, you kind of take special teamers. But I took a quarterback. I took my guy Sawyer Robertson, good developmental quarterback out of Baylor. I think that he's someone that if you can develop behind Jared Goff, he's intriguing. And I think he's going to do some good things this week. I think the one thing you have to really weigh on is the accuracy. They just relied on him so heavily at Baylor, where he basically had to put the team on his back at times. So his accuracy, I think he threw around a 60-something% completion percentage, but usually you're looking for guys that'll throw higher than that. So I don't know. This week could kind of be make or break for him. He was very productive and made a lot of big plays at Baylor, but we'll see. And I like a little bit. He got a little bit of that mobility to him. Kind of like he's a pocket guy that can scramble for first downs. So I think people are going to like that kind of quarterback. So look into Sawyer Robertson for me, chat, and watch some of him. Tell me what you think. But this is my mock draft. Traded back, picked up another second round pick, and pulled the trigger on Jake Slaughter. So, this is my my mock draft.
I'm really starting to fall in love with the idea of trading back. And Brad, listen, like people are like, Brad won't do that. Brad did it with Jahmyr Gibbs. They had the 6th overall pick, traded back, to 12 or 10 or something, and added more assets, and then still didn't. Isn't that what they did, or am I wrong on that?
With are you talking about the Jahmyr Gibbs draft?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They traded from 6 to 12, picked up another.
I think that was the exact thing. I think it was 6 to 12. I think that's what it was. So like he has shown that he will trade back if he feels he could still get a guy that he likes. And I think with these tackles, my opinion, Jeff, I think they go tackle in the first round because I do think there are future starters at tackles. Now, is there instant starters at tackles? Dude, I don't know, but I think there are guys here who are going to be able to be future starters and really, really good future tackles in this league, whether it's the left or the right side. And I think that's something that they're going to value in this first round here. I think, and then as well too, like you don't want to reach and get a guy at 17 that you could still get at 25, that you might have graded late first round. So you might as well trade back like he did in the Gibbs draft, add an asset or two. Like again, we saw last year, the Falcons used a first round pick to trade up to get a first round pick. Like they gave up a first this year to move up last year in the back into the first round. So there might be a team that's willing to do that. You just have to hope that there is and make sure you're ready for it. And you could still probably get a Caleb Lomu in the 20s, a Monroe Freeling in the 20s.
Dude, and I think, and I'll say this because I'm sure we're going to get into it. There's like a couple guys I have written down and, for who I'm excited to kind of watch this week. 2 of those guys are on this mock draft. So, I mean, maybe the one I learned today, maybe you can go 3. But a lot of 4, actually. I picked a lot of guys I'm excited for. Yeah, I mean, Sawyer Robertson, Jalen Husky. I want to watch Singleton. He's going to fly in the 40.
Also, Katron Allen. Like I think out of Penn State, it's such an interesting.
Both those running backs are interesting. Obviously, Jake Slaughter, Heights. Like I want to see all these guys, man, because they're, these PFF mocks. We do this every year. We always put like a little asterisk every time we do it. It's like these guys are going to rise, fall. I mean, you don't know how high. Sawyer Robertson can go in the 5th round. Singleton could be a 2nd round pick. Romello Heights could sneak into 32. I don't know. We don't really know where any of these guys are going to end up going when the draft starts. I mean, it's just the reality. Your guy Cole Payton, like he could be a 4th round pick, 3rd round pick. Who knows? I really don't.
Yeah, he could move up after this. It just depends. And there's also the factor of we're not in the rooms when they have these interviews with people. Like we're not sitting in those rooms. So we're sitting there going like, all right, we have to like Cole Payton could go in and dominate some of these interviews with teams that, need a quarterback or want a future quarterback and end up, gaining 2 or 3 rounds just based off of that. Like Tyler Shuck felt like he did that last year. Everyone was shocked that he was drafted in the 2nd round before majority of those quarterbacks, Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders.
Yeah,
everyone was shocked.
Oh, no,
but again, he had a heck of a combine and he probably had really, really good interviews. And he moved up and he made a statement for himself. And I think that's the biggest thing with the combine this week.
Mm-hmm. It's the interviews, man. Shout out Spence, by the way. Spence just became a YouTube member.
Remember, he said Unc figured out how to use YouTube finally.
The best barber in the tri-state area, man. Shout out Spence. We appreciate you, bro. I will say, I'm excited. I mean, we mentioned all the players we're excited to see this week. I'll say, for me, a player that I have, at least, we can go position. We can talk about position groups because there's a lot of position groups that we can talk about, maybe specific players if you have them. But like I said at the beginning, a position group I'm really excited to see is the running backs. And it's ironic coming from me, but the reality is this running back class, there's the kid out of Nebraska who's really good that I've been seeing a lot of tape on. He's a really good player. You got the Penn State running backs. The Lions reportedly was talking to a running back. I forgot what school he was out of. We just reported that. I don't
know if he's going to be at the combine.
Maybe some guys that aren't even at the combine. Like this running back class is just confusing. And I know the Lions might not take one, but I wouldn't hate if they took one at some point in the draft. Just to have another body in there. So
it's really weird.
I'm excited for the running backs, man. And honestly, it has to do with the combine because of the 40. Running backs, man, like you see some guys run a 40 on the running back and they run like a 4.3 or 4.4. Those guys can make a lot more money. So it means a lot for them, the 40 and stuff. And, the drills where they're catching passes, like, can you have hands? I'm excited to see the running backs for sure.
That's fair. Yeah. It's weird.
That's the NFL fan in me. And also the Lions might need a running back.
My favorite is always, this has nothing to do with anything. My favorite's wide receivers because you get wide receivers and quarterbacks on the same day. And the wide receiver 40s, I think, are exciting. And then you have the gauntlet drill. And then you have all the routes that they start running. And I think that's like the most, especially like there's maybe like 3 or 4 like really good receivers. But I think like this year, there's some interesting receivers out there that a lot of people just aren't talking about. Like Caleb the other night taking, who was it that he took?
Which one? He took like 4 wide receivers.
It looked like Zachariah Branch in the 1st round.
Oh, Zachariah Branch, yeah.
That one threw me off a little bit. Like I was like shaken up. I don't think there's any way Zachariah Branch goes in the 1st round. He's probably going to be a 2nd, 3rd round guy. But like again, there are just so many. Like you have your 1st round guys in Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon, and potentially Jordan Tyson as well. And then also you have guys who can get in the 1st round this week, like Denzel Boston. He's like a late 1st guy, Jeff, could get in there. Casey Concepcion, I hope I hit that right. Texas A&M, he potentially could get in the 1st round based off of his performance. The Indiana kids, like those 2 guys, they potentially could, especially like Omar Cooper. Like there's just some dudes, like there's just some names. Chris Bell out of Louisville. Like there are just some names here when it comes to the wide receivers. I think that will be able to make a statement if they have a good combine and move up into the 2nd round, maybe late 1st. There's just a handful. I think there's really a lot of depth in this receivers class. Maybe not like the high end of like top 15 picks, but there's a lot of depth in this one, man.
Yeah, there is. There really is. I mean, the wide receiver class as a whole, there's besides Carnell Tate and like Mekhi Lemon and Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson was projected before the year to be the number 1 wide receiver off the board. He kind of like fell off a little bit. So I don't know what happened. He's kind of like the second, third guy. So I think and honestly, I'll say this, another position group I'm excited for, and it's ironic that it's going to be another offensive group, tight ends. I'm so excited for
That'll be interesting, yeah.
I
think every group, dude.
Tight ends, and I want to see my guy Sam Rouge. I'm so excited because I don't have like we've gone through the process of like guys we like and stuff, and like
Tyler Koziel.
Yeah, and we've talked about tight ends, but I think the guy I'm most excited to see in the NFL and just kind of how he turns into, like what player he kind of turns into, is Sam Rouge. And Scott, I'm so glad Scott was kind of on my side with that one, because I every time I try and do one of these mocks, again, I don't know where he's going to go, but he's always gone in like the second or third round, and I don't really hear enough about him. Like even if you look at like big boards, some big boards have him higher, some have him in like the 100s, but this tight end class has some dudes like Kenyon Sadiq. I'm not personally like a massive fan. I think he's a good receiving tight end, but is he like a Loveland or Warren or Brock Bowers? No. But even past that, like Michael Trigg out of Baylor. I mentioned Sam Rouge. You mentioned Tanner Koziel late in the draft there. You got Dylan Bentley we brought up. You got Klein out of Michigan, who's kind of a Royer. So there's
Joe Royer out of Cincy, man. That's a guy to look out for.
There's some tight ends in this class. Michael Trigg, as well. Michael Trigg had Baylor balled out.
I think you said it earlier in the show. That's like very, very spot on. This might be out of the 3. This is our 3rd year now covering the combine and actually like going to it and putting out content. I think this is the most, like, to me, the most exciting year of them all. And again, it might not have the highest of talents like we've seen in years past, but I just think the consistency of all the position groups. I think there's just a lot of talent spread out. I don't know if there's honestly, like we're naming the position groups that we're excited to see. I don't know if there's a group that I'm not excited to see. Well, I go through the days and I'm like, every day I'm pumped up. Like there's going to be really, really good players every single day. The defensive line, there's some good interior. I know the Lions might not need interior, but there's some good interior defensive linemen. Again, like I said earlier in the show, I think the offensive lineman, I'm pumped up to see some of these tackles, dude. Like that's one thing I think I'm going to have my eye on. That might be my number one thing going into this is seeing how some of these tackles look. Especially like, Jeff, remember like last year in person when you get to see some of these guys, like what does the size actually look like? Like how big are these dudes? I think that's important for a tackle. Like you want to have this, like you want to have the size, but also if you can go out there and test well with the agility, like if you have the size and you can move, dude, it's over. Like you're gonna get drafted really high. And like I want to see some of these guys in person. Like Francis Mauigoa, how big is this dude really, and can he move? You know what I mean? Like what's his name? Freeling. Like I want to see a Freeling. Like if he really has his size, and also I want to see like does he run a 5.1? What is his, what is the cone drill going to look like? What are these going to look like for him? So it's going to be interesting. Center is going to be a big one too for us, Jeff, because we've been talking about centers all off season.
Center's a good one. Linebackers, like
don't let Pat Coogan.
What drills show the best linebackers? With linebackers, you're looking for short area agility, like how fast can you move? Like Jack Campbell actually killed a lot of those drills. How fast can you move in a short area of space? Like or moving laterally. Like you look at some of the agility drills, even like you factor in the 40, but really the 10-yard split. Like you kind of look at some of those things with linebackers, and you'll see. Because I mean, if you want to be able to cover NFL athletes. Actually, I got to send you it. This thing I actually looked up the other day. I found it's Todd McShay's guide to every combine drill. It was on ESPN like 6 years ago. It's like a little thing he made.
Oh, send that to me. That's sick.
It's so sick. Actually, I'll send it because we'll look at it while we're in the combine. But it's basically every combine drill. And then it says like each position group, like what range is good versus bad in every single drill, like for every position.
I think I'll say this.
2020 made this. Where it's smart.
With combine guys like that cover it, I think Todd McShay would be my number one of like I would love to have on our show. Like if we can run into Todd this weekend or this week and we can have a conversation, maybe network a little and get him on. I think that'd be, to me, that would be like I think he's the best. I'm shocked. When ESPN got rid of him, that was like over Mel Kiper. Like you're talking about, like, do you want the young guy or do you want the old guy? And they were like, oh, we want the old horse. Like, no, you always go the young horse, dude. And they went.
They kept
Mel
the Godfather.
Kiper. Yeah, but like Todd McShay, I think Todd McShay's better than Mel. He's 100 times better.
Yeah, well, it's like Todd's better at like the intricacies and the details. Like Mel's just like he's just the Godfather. Like he's
at some point you got to cut bait, man.
He's so familiar with every college football player. He just kind of.
But it feels like Mel Kiper's wrong the most.
But that's
he's like so far off. Where Todd McShay is like very spot on with a lot of the stuff. He's he hits on a lot of guys, especially late round guy. Like he
I think Mel's best hit
good.
was Josh Allen. I think his with the last couple.
That might be the only hit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember honestly like any. Like his.
The only thing I remember of Mel Kiper is him like hyping up like the worst players of all time.
He did the what's the one he did last year with the
Wasn't he like a Trey Lance guy?
I don't know if he was a Trey Lance guy. I think he was a Trigger Sanders guy.
Oh, there was an edge last year. It was
yeah.
He was like had him as his number one edge. He was like, this is the best guy. He just hasn't done anything. It was just terrible.
Yeah.
Who was that? Oh, he had like 17 sacks in the season, but he played at like a.
Can't remember. But yeah, he kind of, it happens.
The people might know. Well, the chat might know.
And by the way, people were asking in the chat about like show times. It's just hard. I don't know what's going to happen throughout the day, like in terms of what we're doing. I think the best answer for that is just turn the notification bell on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just be ready. Because as soon as if you turn the notification bell on, you get alerted when we go live. So it don't matter when we go live. You'll just get alerted. But it's hard because we're doing so much stuff throughout the day. It's whenever we just have time to do the show.
Typically, we would like last year. We still did an 8:00 show, but at this point, like this, like there's things that we have. We're going to be going and doing around that time, and then it just depends on when we leave the combine. Combine's 12 to almost 8 sometimes each day, so it just depends on when we leave. We might end up doing, honestly, if you guys want even an idea, like tomorrow, our show will probably be, my guess, Jeff, 5 or 6 o'clock, if I had to guess. So if you guys just want to, it might be between 4 and 6, I'm sure we're going to go do our show. And then I would say, if you want to know a show time, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will most likely be morning shows. Sometime between 8 and 10 we'll start. It'll probably be morning shows before we head to the combine and go do stuff. So if that gives you a little bit better of an example. But like tomorrow is going to be a night, an afternoon, and then the rest of the week will probably be morning. And we'll probably actually have a show Saturday morning that will be us this week. Around the same time as the other days. So we're going to be doing Saturday as well. And potentially Sunday. I don't know. Depends how we feel.
Yeah, so just turn the notification bell on. You get alerted. Xavier said you guys need to get hammered like Doc and do a show.
I don't know if we could do that. Hey, man, I don't know.
We're going to let the Doc take on that. Maybe future content plans, maybe we'll have us inebriated. But at some point,
as of now,
no. But that'd be some bonus content at some point.
Yeah.
Not Doc just hitting the live button. Probably. I mean, that takes massive amounts of kahunas. I mean, the guy's got balls.
Again, him texting me, being like, "Boone, I'm going live," and like half the words are spelt like, dude, I could give a great example. Are you ready? He texted me and said, "Are you on internet prepping?" And he said, "I'm hammered." So what's internet prepping mean? Are you home? Yes, sir. And then he texted me, I think it meant alrighty, but he said ALRUFHGY. I don't know what that word is.
There's a 99% chance he's sleeping right now.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
He's passed out.
Night one, he probably wanted to stay up. Night one, he's done.
I mean, streams only. You want us to die? I mean, $5 one shot.
Stream would end quick, probably. We're not the heavyweights, man.
Yeah, but Was it even that? Was it that much when they did it?
I think so, but then I think they realized after they did it, they were like, "This is a bad idea." So
This
I
is
think
going to be done in like $50.
Yeah, then they might have switched it, and they might have been in like $15 or $20 a shot or something. I mean, yeah, when we win the Super Bowl, probably will be.
Someone just drops a 50 bomb, bang.
You're done. Night's over.
Now we got 5 shots each. Good luck.
You're heading to the hospital.
Yeah,
Spencer's already. He said, "I got $100 on that."
Yeah, so Spencer's you're putting us in the ER with one Super.
It might have to be like $50.
Yeah, that'd be insane. That'd be insane, dude.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I want to hang out. I can't wait to hang out with the doc. I can't. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a great time. I can't wait for it. So shout out to the DOC. Guy's an absolute legend. So,
he is. He's the best. And we're going to have dinner with him hopefully tomorrow night. I'm just pumped up, fired up.
Yeah, I'm you know what I'm curious about? It's always the weekend time when we like network, like the Fridays, like where everyone's like, they know it's, the week's kind of, you get through the week, and then Friday everyone's kind of like letting a little more loose, and you get to see like all these types of people at the hotel bar. I know it'll happen throughout the week as well, but Friday it heats up.
Well, no, I'm under the impression from what I've heard that Tuesday and Wednesday is the biggest nights of the week when it comes to networking and being around people. Because
those bars?
Yes, because Thursday the combine actually starts. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, coaches and people and media, they're actually working harder on those days. Where Tuesday, Wednesday, there's no combine yet. There's interviews and stuff, but like there's nothing where it's from what I've been told, most people it's Tuesday night and Wednesday night that's what I've been told. I'm under the impression. I remember last year someone told me it was like a Saturday, and they were like, "Man, we were here Tuesday and everyone was here, or we were here Wednesday and everyone was here." It was so.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably going to be like that. Boone and the Doc could really rip off a 40-yard dash.
I would dominate the Doc at the 40. I love his confidence. I respect it. He's 58 or 59 or maybe 60. I don't know. Maybe that was a disrespectful comment. He might be 40 something. He's half the age of me either way, though. I'm 28.
What if Doc ran like a 5 flat?
There's just no way. There's no Monroe Freeling's running a 5-1. You think the Doc's running a 5 flat?
No. But it'd be
Xavier D. He's in his 40s. I don't think the Doc's in his 40s. Is he?
Yeah, he's in his almost 50s.
I thought he was like 50 something.
No, he's in his mid 40s, mid to high 40s.
I apologize. That was disrespectful on my end. I apologize. Called him little last week, and now I'm calling him 50.
Yeah, we'll tell him this when we get to Indy tomorrow. We'll just tell him. We'll tell him you'll beat him in a 40.
We can do it tomorrow because they have the exhibit at the combine. We can.
He's not going to want to do that.
Exactly.
There's no way the Doc's going to run that 40.
He said I'm bow legged. I don't know what that means.
But you did bring that up the other day.
Oh, I I looked at you. I said I think my legs are shaped.
And that's what I said to you. I said, "What are you bow legged?" I mean, that's what I said.
I don't. But you see my legs. I don't get to see are my legs bow legged?
No. But you were kind of alluding to them being bow legged. I'm like, no, they're not.
It's because when I went shopping for the combine and I got a pair of pants and I put them on. I went, this looks weird. I think it might have been the mirrors that I was looking at. Oh, these are weird. I don't think my legs are I think I have normal legs. I think I got some I
think you said I have Kenny the Jet Smith legs.
I actually did say that, and then I put my legs in. Yes, I remember that. That's funny that this is coming up because I did look at Jeff and I put my legs in. I said, "These are Kenny legs, dude." That's funny. I think I have good calves. I don't know if a lot of people. I think I have decent calves. When I work them out, they're nice. They're good calves. And that means I'm fast. Can't have nice calves and be slow.
No, you can't. Michael says, we're on the street. Doc used to run a 4.9. Maybe back at MSU.
I probably could have ran a 4.6, 4.5 back in the day, my senior year of high school.
A 4.6?
Yeah. What, dude?
No.
Yeah, I don't think I was like super slow.
No, it's not even has anything to do with you. I think people don't understand how fast running in the mid fours is.
Maybe like
Not
a 4.7 then. Maybe like a 4.7 then. I don't think I was like super slow, dude. I just look back at like my senior year.
4.5 guy. No, you weren't. No, you weren't.
Probably not. I mean, AG could have been. AG's burner could have been actually. I think there's people that are fast.
Because 4.6 means you basically ran as fast as Brian Branch. If you lined up with BB in high school right now, would you beat it? Maybe right now with the Achilles, but
yeah.
I
don't know, dude. I don't think I was that slow. I think there was people like I just look at my basketball team that we were on, and we ran a lot. Like we were like really good condition, but we would do sprints all the time. And like my junior year, I wasn't at the front of the pack. I was a little slower. I was more out of shape. But then my senior year, I felt like I was in really good shape, and I was towards the front of the pack a lot. In sprints, and I was so like I would have to think I'm pretty quick. That's on the basketball court though. Like I've never actually ran a 40, so I would think at my peak, my senior year when we were running sprints every day, I would think I'd be like around a 4.7, a 4.8 at least. I think I'd be in the fours, at my peak.
Well, yeah, AG's burner says I was a 4.5 guy. He was running track. Okay, well that's fair. If you're running track, that's
I ran track for a couple years in high school, and I also did sprints. I was a sprint guy.
I would put you.
I wasn't good. I never won anything. Like I was not good. I was just like, hey, I just want to be in here to be in shape for basketball, So I would just run the sprints. I would be at like one of the middle packs of people, like I think my peak in shape, I think I would have been pretty fast.
Faster than Doc or yourself now. You would be fast.
I would my peak, I would blow again. It's a 40-yard. I would beat Doc by 20 plus yards.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Like, and that's at his peak and my peak. Both of our peaks, I would beat him by 20 yards.
Yeah. I think if I ran a 40 right now, I'd probably pull something.
Yeah, probably as well.
Because I haven't ran full speed. I mean, I go on the treadmill every day at the gym. I'm not running full speed.
I would pull something.
Yeah,
that's why people ask me like, "Do you want
to say this?" Doc would get injured. Love you, Doc.
Instantly.
He would get injured. He would like your body to go that fast, dude, as fast as you can. Doc would go down like
people ask me all the time when we talk basketball. Oh, you were good, Boone. Like, let's play 1-on-1 right now. It's like, dude, I haven't played in like a high level, and I don't know what's 2026 in 10 plus years. And you want me just to step out on the court and just play 1-on-1? Like I would tear my Achilles. Like there's just 5-on-5. I could probably.
I would tear my Achilles.
And then people are like, be like, oh, that's just an excuse. It's like, no, like I would get hurt. And if I'm playing if I'm trying hard, I only know one mode. That's play hard. So I would try and play like I was back in 2015 again, and I would be done. It'd be over.
Well, that's why you just say, well, in high school, I would have beat your ass, and then you leave it at that.
100%. There's a lot of people I would have, for
that's
sure.
It. Yeah, shout out, man. We'll hammer it out with the doctor. Maybe that'll be like a piece of content I'll record.
Yeah, we'll see.
That'll be something.
I'm really thinking, because we're gonna do our vlog, so we'll have our camera a lot. I'm really thinking as well, like we have our vlog, but also like I want to put a lot of stuff out on our socials, like Twitter, more specifically, of like behind the scenes videos of us at the combine. Like I think I'm going to. I've just been thinking about it.
Like I think we should just fucking flood our YouTube with stuff like that. I think that's all.
Yeah, but I think like Twitter, like for people like I think a lot of people want to see, and a lot of people go to our Twitter. So I've been considering and thinking about it. I think we might do that. Like the tomorrow morning. I mean, I'm getting up at 3:30 to drive an hour to you so we can leave. Like I think I might just put it all up. It might not do well, but at least people get to.
Absolutely.
If are people interested in that? Do people want to see our whole journey and what we do? We've done it for 2 years now. Like, are people interested in that? If so, then yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm down with it. I think a day with the doc, or just putting that stuff like on like Twitter or YouTube, even if we throw a piece of it in the vlog, just being with the doc is good content.
We should ask the doc tomorrow, to be honest. If he wants to do dinner, we should tell him, like, your unk, you pick the place. You doesn't treat us, we'll pay. But like, you take us to the restaurant. You want to go outside of St. Elmo's because we're going. You take us, doc, to your best place downtown, and then you order for all of us. Like, you tell us what we get. I think that would be, and like, it's a kind of like a let doc just take control of this one. I think that would be really funny.
He would throw me something like he'd order me like fish.
He would order something fire. The doc knows food, dude.
Yeah. He'd give me some Lebanese food. Go to a Lebanese restaurant. Give me some Lebanese food. That's how the doc would operate, man. I trust the doc. I do.
Me too. I feel like he would take us to like another type of like steakhouse or something. Did you see what he ate today?
No, what did he eat?
He was at like a steakhouse. He had like a lobster mac and cheese. So I think if we gave the doc the option, I feel like he would get us he'd take us to a good spot.
Shish kebab from the doc. Doc would take you to the strip club to eat wings. Hey,
we go to the Hooters every year. There, I'm good with the Hooters, man. The Hooters are so good. Their wings are so good, man.
The wings are really good at Hooters. Spencer says Doc is definitely a Philly cheesesteak guy. He definitely is. He definitely is. I would almost put money on Doc being a Philly cheesesteak guy. Definitely, and a wings from the strip club kind of guy.
Yeah,
he's sure. Definitely in that category.
Lemon pepper,
some lemon pepper wings for the Doc for sure.
By the way, drop some mailbag questions. We could answer some here in the next 5 minutes about combine and stuff if people want.
I mean, what's the weather going to look like on our travels tomorrow?
I think we're good. I think we've made it. I think today and yesterday were some snowy days. I think I looked at it because I'm going to be driving to your place at 3:30 in the morning. So I had to make sure I checked.
Yeah. It says it doesn't spot supposed to snow. Thursday could be some flurries. All right.
Gumby said, hope to see you guys there. Yeah. I've had a couple people actually message me and say that they wanted to meet us. So I do have to go back to some messages and
there people are going.
I've reached back out, but that was like a couple days or a couple weeks ago. So there was a few people.
We're gonna be with the people. I mean, during the combine stuff. So if you're Lions fans, if you see us, I mean, just
we're gonna be doing like interviews. We're gonna be doing videos. So if you're around and want to be in something, we're going to be doing some content like that.
Dude. I would love that. Have some allies in enemy territory, dude. We're at the combine. We see some Lions fans. I mean, that's what I like. That's what I like to see there. All right, we're going to see all types of fans. I can't wait. The fans I don't want to see. I don't want to see. People can make and say I'm lying. I just don't want to see any NFC North fans. I don't want to see them.
We're going to see Bears fans. We're going to see Packers fans.
Bears fans. Imagine Bears fans. They welcome me in with open arms.
No, they're gonna hate you.
What happens there? What happens there? They're like, Jeff.
Imagine that. Like, what if we're at Ben Johnson's press conference tomorrow, and he looks at you and goes, "What are you doing here?" By the way, tomorrow. We're probably not going to be there for Ryan Poles and Brian Gutztagoons. They're at 10:15. I don't think we're going to be there in time, but 11:30 is Ben Johnson. We might be there at 10:15 for them. We're going to be like, boys are going to try and push it to get there for those two, but we might be on like maybe the back end of it. But we for sure will make the Ben Johnson one. Are you Will you be nervous? Are you going to ask anything to Ben Johnson? I might just leave the Ben Johnson one alone. Just do your thing, Ben.
I'm not gonna ask nothing.
Do you think we would get kicked out if I take my shirt off?
I think I. Yeah, that's actually gonna be hilarious. Would that be like something you're like, okay, I'm gonna get kicked out, but we're gonna do this? Like,
it would be one of the most viral clips of all time of the combine. If imagine I did that, we got kicked out, and then like Klotz is like, oh, I forgot to press record, boys.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, I probably should not. I should probably not take my shirt off. That would be so funny though if we did. Our whole crew, just me and my Klotz shirts off for Ben
Honestly,
Johnson's
I think Ben John. Like when I saw Joe Klatt at the Michigan game, he had that. Just it's not going to be like that, but it'll be like pretty cool. I mean, for all of us. I mean, Ben Johnson, yeah, he's a Bears coach. Like we hate him, but it's like to see him right there as a head coach, it's kind of trippy.
The only person that I'm like just to see in person where I have not ever in my life come across in person is Dan Campbell, and there's just no telling how I'm going to react. I'm just to be honest. I could freeze. We've all been around a lot of like big time people, and we've been good. Talked to everything's. There's just some people where you just freeze up, and you're like, oh my gosh. There's a chance that happens with Dan. There's a chance that I pass out. I don't know.
I hope Brad Holmes looks at us, and I hope he doesn't think like, oh yeah, these guys are.
Is there a world where Brad or Dan just look and be like, is that the Kool-Aid guy sitting in the press conference? You know what I mean? Like,
or is that the guy that shit on Aleem's contract?
No, I think there's more. Well, I know for a fact they've seen the Kool-Aid videos. So maybe there's a chance they're like, why is the Kool-Aid guy in the media? Like, this guy should not be here.
Oh, I can't wait for it, man. I can't wait for it. Like I said, everyone turn on the notification bell so you get alerted.
Go turn our alerts on all social media platforms, specifically as well, YouTube and Twitter. Those are the two big ones. Make sure. Twitter is going to be the one we post the most on everything. So make sure you turn the alerts on Twitter.
There you go.
I have so many alerts on so many people. It's so easy to put the crunch time ones on.
We appreciate you all as always. Get your merchandise, officialctsports.com.
Thank you, Xavier D.
See you guys tomorrow. Until then, we'll see you.
Love you guys.